Data backups, business continuity, disaster recovery planning. What every business owner must have in place now to guarantee an easy and painless recovery of their data. This Dave webinar is presented by myself, Dave Dempster, ASG's Senior Engineer and Security Specialist. You're probably asking yourself, well, who the heck is Dave Dempster and ASG? Well, Dave Dempster, myself, have been in the IT field for 18 or so years. 8 of those years I have been involved with cybersecurity. I became a certified ethical hacker quite a few years ago. I became an offensive security certified professional, and I passed my Security Plus. I'm also currently involved taking the CISSP exam. What a CISSP is a Certified Information Security Professional. What does that mean for you and your business? It means that we are going to uphold you and your company to the best possible best practices and security practices that are available out there now. ASG Information Technologies. Founded in 1997 by owner and president Robert Mitchell. We specialize in highly responsive, proactive network support and IT security services for companies who require better results from their technology investments. Our best customers are businesses who understand that technology can deliver value and give them a competitive edge in the marketplace. The number one biggest threat to business owners: being unaware and grossly misinformed about data backup, disaster recovery, and business continuity plans. Ignorance is not bliss. What you don't know can cripple your organization. And we're going to cover more of this detail in the next coming slides, because without the proper planning in your business, you can actually suffer for days, weeks, if not close indefinitely, without the proper plan for your business to recover after a severe data loss or technology disaster. As I just mentioned in the previous slide, how important it is that you need to have a proper disaster recovery and business continuity plan. Think about this. Have you ever lost an hour of work on your computer? Now, imagine if you lost days or weeks worth of work. Imagine losing your client database, financial records, QuickBooks files, your ERP, your CRM system, all the work your company has ever produced over the years. Now imagine what would happen if the computer network went down for days and you could not access email or information on your network or PCs or servers. Now think how devastating that's going to be. That's really going to kill your business, isn't it? A lot of us depend heavily on technology this day and age for the fact of communication, sales, and even just making phone calls for those important numbers. Data loss is more common than ever, and the number of incidents is growing. 20% of the small to medium businesses out there will suffer a major disaster causing loss of critical data every 5 years. 40% of those businesses that manage their own networks and use the internet for more than just email have their networks compromised by a hacker, and more than half won't even know they've been hacked or attacked by a virus. Technology is going to break. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's not just the technology's fault that fails that cause these incidences to happen for our businesses. It's also the human factor. Let's face it, we're all human, we make mistakes, these things happen. And it's probably one of the bigger things that happens in businesses, that it's just an employee is not well trained enough, or they open up an email that's not supposed to be, or they delete files accidentally. Now here's some real world facts that you may not even know about your business and how it affects the business and continuity of keeping things running. Every business is connected to the internet, so they're going to be prone to hackers, viruses, data corruption, data loss, system failures, and of course the whole network downtime. But you say, how? Well, because hackers are going to find their way in eventually. Either they're trying to break into your company because they want something you have, or it's just a phishing attempt of trying to see what's open, see what's out there, what can they get. And the viruses that come along with this. You have employees who are opening up emails that should not have be, and next thing you know, there's a virus wreaking havoc. Now you lost data on your network. Data corruption and data loss result in system failures and network downtime. The data corruption can happen from a file being worked on a PC, and the PC is having issues. It's got some sort of malware, and now the data file is corrupted. Data loss can happen from incidental issues where an employee may delete a file by accident. Now, these are just a few of the things that can cause you system failure and network downtime. Some of you are probably sitting there watching this presentation saying, nah, that never happened to me. But think about it. It's an open invitation for Murphy to come visit and wreak havoc on your business. Murphy's Law states anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Or maybe it has already for your business. Have you already suffered some data loss without recovering the files? Have you lost a server or data that you could not recover due to improper backup solution? Theft, fire, or another natural disaster? Now let's talk about the common causes for data loss and downtime that leave business owners vulnerable because they never see it coming. One of the biggest things that people don't understand is technology is going to fail. It's a matter of when it will happen to you. It's just technology is not made as it used to be anymore. You have a hard drive in a computer. It's a mechanical device. It's just like the old records, like on a record player. There's a spinning disc inside and there's a head that moves back and forth. It's mechanical. It's bound to break. Lightning strikes. These are kind of things that could happen to your business without the proper technologies in place. Here we have is the hardware failure in the industry is about 40%. That's your PCs, your servers, your backup devices, your monitors, your laptops, everything. Which I find to be strange here, but this is what the studies have shown, is 29% of issues in a business are the human error. Humans are humans. We all make mistakes. I always thought that number would be much higher than 29%. Software corruption, down at 13%. You get Microsoft with their Windows updates that come out. They break stuff. Or your ERP system comes up with a new patch to correct something, and that breaks stuff. Virus and hackers, that number is on the rise. It's low on the 6% side, but more and more the technology that is being cloud-based, these things are going to be more vulnerable to those attacks. So I'm sure in the next couple of years we'll see that percentage grow. 9% is due to theft. This is from laptops being stolen, mobile phones, PDAs, that sort of pieces of information being lost. And also destruction of hardware due to natural disasters. But that's okay. I've got my data backed up, right? Wrong. Just because your data is backed up doesn't mean you're covered from data loss. We're going to talk about this in the next coming slides. In the next few slides, we're going to talk about the 5 most common and costly mistakes businesses make with their data backups. Let's begin. Mistake number 1. They use outdated backup systems that are prone to failure and corruption. There are various industries that report that 42 to 71% of tape restores will fail. Yes, people out there still use tapes for their backup solutions. Now here's why tapes are going to fail. Tape drives are fragile, they're highly susceptible to heat, humidity, magnetic interference. These tapes must be replaced every 6 to 12 months as recommended. But not every business replaces them. They continue to keep using the tapes and overwriting the data. Eventually the tape is going to fail and you're not going to be able to overwrite anymore. Plus, the data is not encrypted on a tape as it would be any other sort of media. The technology is just not there for tapes to do encryption. Mistake number 2, they never validate their backup and simply hope their data will be there, or that their IT guy has them covered. Most of these common causes for the backup failures: the backup schedule was not set properly, the schedule was set but never ran a backup but had errors, incomplete, corrupted, no one got a notification that the failure happened. The backup ran but cannot be found because somebody took the media home with them, the drive was misplaced, or the data corruption on the storage unit for the backup. These are the kind of things that happen out there, more common than you think. With the best practices and policies and procedures in place, these things can be avoided. Mistake number 3, they depend on their users to save important data to their server and not on the laptops or mobile devices. Yeah, right. The laptops being used in the business these days, some of them, the companies will allow BYOD, bring your own device to work. That means none of the data is on a server or in a centralized location somewhere to be backed up. So what do? You need to really enforce a policy to enforce the employees to make sure that data is saved there, or you have a particular program that's installed on your network for these BYOD devices that ensures that the data is always going to be backed up to a centralized location. Now, 40% of these businesses rely on their users to follow a company policy of backing up data. It doesn't always work, as only 34% of them never do. You can have a policy written for all that stuff, but again, it's just human nature. People are going to make mistakes. Unless you have the right pieces in place and the right technologies, you may not be covered. Mistake number 4, they don't think anything bad could ever happen to them. However, data loss is not caused by natural disasters. We talked about this a few slides ago, that we said about the hardware failure being about 40%. The mechanical devices, the electronics are not made the same way. These things are going to fail, just a matter of when. Human error, like I said, 29% seems awfully low. Humans make mistakes. They accidentally delete files. They open up that email they shouldn't have and cause massive data loss. You have software corruption from improper updates or proper checking from these big company vendors. The viruses and hackers out there are trying to attack the networks. Not directly at you, but just the fact that they're floating around out there on the web. You have theft at 9%. If you have traveling salespeople or you have staff that has visiting nurses, they have laptops with them, they have information. Data can be lost or stolen that way. And the 3% is due to natural disasters. And with the effects of El Nino this year being 2016, is that number is projected to be a little bit higher due to the flooding and the lightning damages that are maybe caused here in the Northeast this year. I should have had a little bit of a drum roll for this slide number 5. But here we are. The biggest mistake businesses make with their backups, they believe that their backup equals disaster recovery and business continuity. That is so false, because there's so much more involved with a disaster recovery and a business continuity plan. It's not about just restoring your data and getting back to work. No, there is a lot more involved, because without having a proper disaster recovery or business continuity plan done up for your business already, let's say, for instance, that all of a sudden you come in one morning, there was a fire. And you didn't know there was a fire until you go into the back room to go put your lunch in the refrigerator. And this server is totally cooked. Now what? You go into panic mode. Or do you go to your filing cabinet, or do you go to another source where you have the documentation to say, hey, okay, we just lost our file server and we're not able to work again. What is the first step? That's what the business continuity and disaster recovery plan is able to do for your business. Now, not every business has this, and it is something that businesses should do. And it is something that we do here at ASG, is we can help you write up that business continuity plan for your IT side and at least get you started into the regular business continuity of just your everyday stuff. We just got done talking about how a disaster recovery plan and business continuity plan is important. So, like I said, a disaster can happen at any time and any day. It's not like it's scheduled on the calendar. You need to have these plans. So the key question you need to ask yourself is, what is your tolerance for downtime? How long can you suffer for being down and still able to keep your customers or your business running smoothly? Now, your downtime does depend on the backup solution you have chosen for your business, because without the right backup solution, you may be down for hours, you may be down for days or even weeks or even infinitely. So, what is the right backup solution for your business? Let's discuss this in the next few slides. A few slides back, I discussed the fact that data backup does not equal disaster recovery or business continuity for your IT systems. Well, let's take for instance here. Let's suppose your house burned down. God forbid everything is gone, including the structure. But you are smart enough to keep an exact replica of everything you had in the house in a separate warehouse off-site, like a proper data backup solution. Now, we're continuing on with the analogy of the house burned down and you need to rebuild it and move everything back in. is the same thing in an IT infrastructure. This means you need to buy new hardware, rebuild the server, reinstall the software, the operating system, the CRM system, reconfigure all the settings. And we say this because if you're doing an improper backup and you're not doing a full level image of your server, this is going to take, good few days to do. Reinstalling the operating system could take up to 8 hours. Reconfiguring all the settings, all the users, the way they kind of used to be, which we think they used to be, is definitely going to take some time. Then after all that, you have to hope that the data backup you took is actually valid. It's able to put all the file information back into your system, and then you can go right back to work. That's why we say a simple data backup does not mean you have a disaster recovery or business continuity plan in effect. As I keep talking about this, go over and over again in these slides about disaster recovery, business continuity, and proper backup solutions, what we're getting a point here is it's no longer nice to have a disaster recovery plan for your business. It's outright necessity to protect what you work so hard to achieve. I mean, it does have a cost involved to build a disaster recovery plan for your IT business, but you spend that money once, and then we don't have to worry about it for quite a few years unless the infrastructure changes so much that we need to rewrite a new policy. But having one of these policies in place gives you the warm and fuzzies knowing that if something goes wrong, I have a check sheet to know that I can get myself back on my feet again and back in business. Why you desperately need a disaster recovery plan for your IT infrastructure. In a study of companies that experience a major data loss without having a solid disaster recovery plan in place, only 6% survived. Now, those things like this can be avoided with the right recovery methods, plans, best practices in place. I mean, look at this. 43% closed their doors immediately. Then you have 51% that kind of limping along, doing okay, and eventually they have to close the doors because they just cannot make it. They needed the systems back up and running and in place to continue on running the business. In that previous slide, we were talking about why disaster recovery plans are important for your business. We're going to go over some real-world scenarios here of our ASG clients that have had scenarios happen to them, and these are not made up. These are real scenarios from real businesses we deal with. They did not want their names disclosed, but we are going to cover what the results were when having the right plans in place with the right backup tools. Let's begin. Let's talk about our first case study here. It's a residential nursing care facility, about 75 employees, 25 computers, and 1 server. Security and HIPAA are extremely important to this business. Network and wireless uptime is a must because of the cloud-based nursing program that they use. And here's the situation. The key individual in the business had opened up an email. She thought it was from the state of Connecticut about some information that she was requesting. Well, sure enough, the email was fake. The PDF file was actually a crypto virus. The crypto virus ripped through her PC, locked all the files on her PC, then it jumped to the network shares that she had access to. Unfortunately, she had access to a lot of the shares on the server. So everything was locked out. They were in dire straits. The server was out of commission. So they had the proper ASG backup solution and disaster recovery and business continuity plan in effect. So the ASG tech had gone on site, and he did was a full restore of the server using an image level backup. Everything was restored within a matter of a few hours. And now, without the proper plan, this would have taken them weeks easily. They had so much data going on in that server that they would have been down, and how can you be down when you're a nursing care facility? So, glad to say that we got them back up and running quickly. And not to mention that this virus hit them more than one time. This actually hit them 3 times, and each one of those times, we had restored the server right back to a running state all before lunchtime. This next case study was an oil and propane delivery company, and they also do full-service HVAC. They have 33 computer and 7 servers. Their motto, they will do whatever it takes to ensure the customer is completely satisfied with their services provided by their company. Network and wireless uptime is a must. They have trucks out in the field that communicate back and forth with the system in-house, and they have a lot of their techs on staff too that have laptops that are connected mobily back to their office. Here's the situation. An employee had mistakenly deleted the directory on the server. This directory holds all the accounting information from 2003 and current. This company had the ASG full image backup system in place. So when the owner of the business called, totally freaked out that all the financial data was gone, we kind of laughed for a moment and said, nah, no worries. All we did was remote into the system, right-click, restore the files from the backup system, and back up and running in a matter of minutes. Again, this is with the proper backup solution that they had in place. If you have the improper backup solution, such as a tape drive or an external hard drive that you're saving file level data, this can take hours, if not longer, depending on the amount of data. Here we are on to our next case study. A manufacturer in Connecticut. They got 14 computers and one server. Backup and recovery was extremely important to them because before they came on board with ASG, they had suffered a huge data loss that cost them a lot of money. So the current situation last year was they were in the process of doing their year-end inventory process. The Access database broke, so the inventory was not able to be completed. Lucky for them, they had the ASG Direct Link server imaging product that we offer, and with an offsite backup component. One of our techs remoted into the server. They right-clicked on the folder that was missing from the server. They restored it, and everything was back up and running. What the client said was, wow, you guys just paid for your services for the whole year or more by just what it would cost to replicate all that data in the database. And here we are in our last case study, an environmental compliance and testing company in Connecticut. 9 computers, 1 server. They pride themselves as working as closely with their clients to anticipate their needs and provide the highest level of quality of service. Now here's the situation. This was the employee's last day, and she was a bit disgruntled by whatever reason. So all the emails had been deleted from her inbox. She was the one that delivered and controlled all the jobs that this company dealt with. And there were a lot of unpaid invoices and projects that were pending to be done. So when they found out after she had left that all the emails were gone, they were quite devastated because they had a lot of money sitting out there that needed to get completed. So again, they called ASG. They explained the situation. We said, no problem. You have the ASG image level backup service, and we were able to restore all the emails that she had removed from the system, even some of the calendar items that had been removed as well. So they were right back to working again, and they were able to get the jobs completed. Now, after hearing all these case studies, the question might be on everybody's mind right now: what is the simplest yet most effective way to make sure your business could be back up and running again in the event of a disaster? I'd like to take a moment to outline that for you. Let's talk about the 3 critical elements for your business so that you can ensure a fast recovery time. The first critical element is secure, encrypted off-site backup. This does not mean having the backup down the hallway in another office somewhere on an external NAS drive or a hard drive somewhere. No, this needs to be stored in an off-site data server location somewhere where you can ensure that data is always going to be available for you at the drop of a hat. The second critical element is having a data recovery and a disaster recovery and business continuity plan. As I spoke to you about these case studies in the previous slides, all those companies had the DR plan along with the proper backup solution. That is why they were able to recover so fast. And element number 3, test restores. We cannot stress that enough, is that we do test restores. With our ASG clients, we do test restores on a quarterly or yearly basis. We'll do is we go in after hours or during later work hours to shut down the production server, bring up the test restore server, ensure that that company can function off of the disaster recovery plan we have put together. Let me explain a little bit about the backup solutions that we currently offer and to help you better understand to make the right choice. The different levels we have here are file level, image level, and then BUDR. The file level at a local level backup is that only the files mission critical to the business are backed up to a local external hard drive. or a network attached storage device. The next level, file level, being cloud-based, is that the files critical to the business are again selected and then stored and shot straight up to the cloud data center somewhere. The next level is a hybrid of the file level. We do a file level with the critical data for the business. A local copy is saved in-house in the business, and a copy is sent to the cloud. The next backup solution is an image level. This takes a snapshot of your server in real time while you're working and saves a local copy of the disk image to a NAS drive located on premise. The next level of that is the image level with local and cloud. This means an image of the server is saved locally in your facility for a quick recovery, and then a backup of the image is sent to the cloud overnight. The next and best recovery option that we recommend for our clients is the BUDR, Backup Disaster Recovery. This includes the same features of the image level, local and cloud, but we also include a DR computer that saves the images locally to the network for instant recovery. And this machine also allows your business to run in the event of a disaster on the server, that we can turn on the server from this backup device, run your business until the main system has been fully rebuilt, restored, replaced, or corrected. Now, so after all talking about these different backups and different methods, so how do you determine which backup plan is right for your business? Simple. We can help come out do an assessment of your current backup system, the security, the antivirus, the network. We can review the backup and disaster recovery you have in place. And if you don't have one, we can help work with you to build one out. Review the discovery of what critical data you have on your network. We can help do a cost analysis of what's currently being spent of your current backup solution in storage. We can review your network documentation. How much downtime can your business tolerate without having a file server, email server, web access? Those are key critical things because it will help determine what kind of solution is best for your business. Now let's do a quick simple assessment. Think about the most important data you have. If you lost access for a week, what kind of impact would that have? If you lost access permanently, what kind of impact would that have? Can you estimate the cost of recovering if your backups didn't work? It's probably hard to swallow that information, but what did you discover? This is the kind of sample audit here that we would come out and do with your business to help figure out what it is that's most important to your business to keep you running at the most tolerable downtime possible. We hope you found this presentation helpful in shedding some light on backing up your data and making sure you could quickly recover in the event of data loss. Clearly, it's not a matter to be taken lightly, yet most business owners are so busy they don't think about it until a disaster like this happens. Our purpose in providing this information is to help you make informed decisions about avoiding getting burned by many incompetent firms offering different backup solutions. Even if you feel that everything is okay, your current backup system is solid, we encourage you to take us up on the offer for a free data backup and recovery audit. This audit, of course, is provided free with no obligations or expectations on our part, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.